Hi, Ann and Scott. Yeah, we're waiting at any moment for an update from IMPD. They're scheduled to come here. They've brought us all here to the Town Place Suites off of Ameriplex Drive. Here's what they have confirmed so far, though, that they are on the scene of a mass casualty incident at the FedEx plant here near the airport. Now, our crews got here a little earlier, one of our photographers, and we were able to talk to someone who was inside that plant. He had gotten out, and he told us that he was inside there working when he heard gunfire, several shots. He says he looked up to see a gunman. The gunman did not see him. He ducked down. He says the gunman continued to fire. He heard several more shots. He said when he was trying to leave the plant and get out, he did see one person injured on the ground. He wasn't sure how badly or the condition of that person, but that person was on the ground, he said, and not moving. That is what we know so far from a witness inside that plant here tonight, and IMPD saying that they are on the scene of a mass casualty incident at the FedEx plant. We are waiting for some more updates from them. They are scheduled to come here and update the media at any moment. Guys.
And Emily, as we stand by and wait for Metro Police to give us some more updates, they had confirmed that they had multiple victims, but the witness that you spoke to said that they had one person that they saw on the ground inside the FedEx facility. Is that right?
Right, that is correct. I mean, it's a rather large facility. Obviously, this person where he was located had only seen one person on the ground from his vantage point. But again, he says that he saw a gunman coming through the plant and firing. He heard several gunshots. He heard the gunshots before he saw the gunman. Then he says he saw the gunman and he ducked down. He was telling us that the gunman did not see him. Carlos, first, let's talk about the fact that, people went to bed last night expecting that their loved ones were here at work at the FedEx ground facility and would be coming home safely this morning. And the terrible reality is they're going to learn today, the families of 8 people are going to learn today that that's just not going to happen. What we know right now from police is basically the same thing that they were telling us in briefings last night, which is that they responded to gunfire, reports of gunfire here at this facility around 11 last night. When they got on scene, they encountered an active shooter who ultimately ended up taking his life. When it was all over, 9 people were dead, including the gunman. Several people injured from gunfire. One of them critically, 4 taken to area hospitals. People sustained other injuries as well, and they were also taken to area hospitals. And police even saying that some people actually transported themselves, and they've been on scene interviewing witnesses and also trying to interview some of the people taken to hospitals, and they say, it's their understanding that people left this facility, got out of here, left, escaped, and they want to talk to those people too, because those people are also witnesses. At this point, they're not releasing anything about the shooter, what kind of gun he may have had. They say that this is going to be a long investigation, but they say that people saw things in there inside that facility that they should never have to see. Carlos?
Hey, this started out as a protest, a small protest really, at Monument Circle a couple hours ago. Some people speaking, some people holding up signs, and then it grew. It quickly grew. Well, welcome to the new normal if you're coming to dine outside here in Indy tonight, because it is outside. We're at Meridian in Georgia, outside District Tap, and take a look. This is how it works. You come and you check in right here at this hostess table.
Now, you may be asking, just how much more interest is there in this election?
This is a first for me. I've covered a lot of elections, and usually I'm in a hotel downtown at a watch party with one party or the other as supporters come in. But take a look where I am tonight. I am outside here in the news car at the Tibbs Drive-In. We're not here for a double feature, though. This is real life. Even if racing fans aren't inside here for the Indy 500, business owners on Main Street hope they'll still come here to be close to the action and spend their money.
Well, Scott, IMPD Chief Randy Taylor called Officer Breanne Leith the kind of officer we want on this department, saying she was strong and well respected.
Uncovers details about the gunman's past. Emily?
Yeah, Scott, we are in the suspected gunman's neighborhood here on the Far East Side. It's quiet here tonight, and that wasn't the case this morning, though, when investigators flooded this neighborhood, and they flooded Hull's home looking for evidence, looking for answers as to why this tragedy happened.
I seen all the police cars and the crime lab vehicles up there, and police with dogs, and in the yard and across the street here looking around. And
Jim Clark was walking his own dog Friday morning when he saw something he'd never seen before. Dozens of police in the neighborhood where Clark's lived for 18 years.
I just couldn't imagine what the heck went on up there.
Clark soon learned investigators were searching the home of his neighbor, 19-year-old Brandon Scott Hull, suspected of shooting and killing 8 people the night before and injuring several others. In this exclusive video Channel 13 shot, you can see investigators removing computer equipment, a long cardboard box, and other items from Hull's home.
It's kind of floored me, to think that something really went on.
Clark says he's seen police at the home before, but didn't know why.
I knew something was not right around that up there.
This police report from March of last year is giving some insight into what that might have been. According to the FBI, last March, Hull's mother told police she feared her son was going to try and commit suicide by cop and called police on March 3rd with her concerns. The police report from that call details how Hull had bought a pump-action shotgun just 24 hours earlier and had started talking about suicide. According to the report, the then 18-year-old was placed in a mental health facility on a temporary hold, and police took the .410 gauge shotgun, noting it was, quote, seized from dangerous person. The FBI says Hull never got it back, and they interviewed him in April based on items investigators saw in his room at the time. Investigators say they didn't find any racially motivated violent extremism ideology, and ultimately, Hull wasn't charged with a crime. According to the FBI, the shotgun wasn't returned to Hull. And investigators are not indicating at this point what kind of weapon or weapons may have been used in last night's shooting or where the suspect may have got them. They're also not talking about a motive, what led to this shooting, or whether Hull quit FedEx last year or was let go. What we do know is that Hull's mother reached out to authorities last year, warning them that her son needed help. We're going to go live to Alan Carter right now, who was at the scene with me last night. He's back out there again tonight, and he's seen folks returning to the scene. Alan?
Our Emily Longnecker continues our team coverage tonight. So, Emily, we know most of them have issued some kind of statement about what happened today, right?
Yeah, Scott, it's been condemnation across the board from lawmakers from Indiana about what occurred today in one of the most sacred places in our democracy.
Peaceful protests at the Capitol Wednesday quickly shifted with Trump supporters flooding the steps, breaking windows, entering the rotunda, and storming the Senate chambers. Some lawmakers evacuated while others sheltered in place. Congressman Andre Carson was one of those.
This is what happens when demagoguery goes unchecked, when you have ridiculous conspiracy theories that go unchallenged. The violence at the Capitol was, without question, domestic terrorism.
Congressman Carson challenged his Republican colleagues who have supported President Trump in the past to forcefully take a stand against the actions of the president's supporters at the Capitol.
Cowardice and not having a backbone will no longer work for your constituents. You have to stand firmly on who you are as a person and who you are as a representative of the people, and do what's right and work together as Americans and certainly as human beings.
Indiana's 2 Republican senators tweeted condemnations in the hours after the violence. Senator Mike Braun, who earlier vowed to reject some of the electors in battleground states, tweeted, "What we are seeing at the Capitol is wrong, hurts the cause of election integrity, and needs to stop immediately." Senator Todd Young tweeted, "In America, we have a right to peacefully protest, but what has occurred today goes against everything we stand for as a nation." Other Indiana lawmakers condemned the attacks, including Representative Jackie Walorski, who was among those representatives vowing to object to some electors. She tweeted, "Stop the attacks on our country now and keep the protests peaceful."
Emily, Governor Holcomb briefly addressed the storm on the U.S. Capitol during his COVID briefing today, but he sent out a new response tonight. What did he say?
Well, Scott, he called this scene today saddening and sickening, saying in his statement, quote, "Passion, patriotism, and love for our nation should always and only be expressed in constructive ways that seek to honor the ideals on which our nation was founded. Any means of violence runs counter to who we are and is never acceptable." So strong condemnation tonight from Governor Eric Holcomb on that scene that unfolded today at the United States Capitol. Scott.
All right, Emily, thank you so much.
Scared and wondering where I'm going to do next.
44-year-old Vanda Turpin is 5 months pregnant with twins and homeless.
You have no bathroom, nowhere to take a shower, nothing, no way to eat. It's very hard.
That's been the reality for Vanda and her husband Terry for the past 2 years, both of them living in a tent, holding up signs that say,
Homeless, need help. Do people help? Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
Life wasn't always like this for the couple. They used to live in an apartment in Greenwood with their 13-year-old son.
I had a breakdown, a manic depression breakdown. I have bipolar, schizophrenic, and manic depression.
Then Terry fell off a roof at his job and couldn't work.
Both of us lost our job and couldn't pay none of the bills, and we just couldn't keep our house, and we lost everything, had to leave it behind.
The couple lost their 13-year-old son, too.
And I asked his aunt to adopt him so he has a permanent, good home.
This tent outside the Walmart on East Washington Street has been Vanda and Terry's home lately. That's where Diana Walker found them last Thursday night.
It was 11 degrees, and I asked her husband, is there anything you need? He said blankets.
Homelessness is an issue that hits close to home for Walker.
My brother, you know, he had a mental breakdown, and he's homeless on the streets of L.A. He's been missing 8 years.
Walker did more than just bring the Turpins blankets, though. She put a call out on Facebook about their situation.
There was an immediate response. People wanted to help.
Walker was able to get Vanda and Terry into this motel until Monday, giving her time to call shelters, hoping to find a place that would take them together.
They're full. They're full. There's just no help.
Vanda doesn't want to be apart from Terry, especially now.
I want to stay with my husband because of my mental illness. He helps me a lot out. There's nothing out there for us.
It shouldn't come as a surprise that Vanda and her husband have had a hard time finding a safe place to lay their heads. The folks who work with the city's homeless say it's only gotten worse because of COVID, because shelters can't let as many people in.
Finding a shelter that takes a married couple is even harder.
A lot of times you just say, hey, we're going to bite that bullet and we're going to stay together, right? And you end up staying in a park or in a car or out on the street.
William Bumpus runs the men's shelter for Wheeler Mission.
As soon as you open the spots up, people come. There's a lot of people out there who are homeless that we just don't know about.
Vanda and her husband Terry are among them. Vanda is determined that won't be her children's fate. The couple has decided to find them adoptive families.
They'll have a home, and they won't be out here in this miserable world where people are so cruel.
Vanda is thankful, though. Diana Walker turned out to be different.
She's a really good person.
And I always wanted to be that teacher that I never had.
So that's what Renee Dixon has been doing every chance she gets as the director of a preschool at Lyndhurst Baptist Church.
We are the first education that they're going to get.
These kids are living and learning through a global pandemic, and many of their parents are struggling to make ends meet.
People who thought that they would never, ever have to go to a food bank. And now some of my parents do. And these children, their world just turned upside down on them. No fault of theirs. And I know some of them won't get presents for Christmas.
Not, though, if Renee can help it. Every Friday when school gets out, this mother and grandmother climbs behind the wheel of her car and hits the streets, driving Uber all weekend long so she can buy her students gifts for Christmas.
I know how it feels to be down as a child. If your parent doesn't have anything.
Renee hasn't wasted any time stocking up on gifts. Every time she earns $100 driving Uber, she stops at a store, usually Target, and goes shopping.
Renee's office at school is already starting to fill up.
It's a lot of work. It's hard work, but they deserve it.
But the extra hours driving aren't just so the kids at Renee's school can have presents. She wants the teachers who work under her to have something too.
My teachers have been wonderful. And I wanted to give them something to say thank you.
Even though Renee's exhausted, sometimes cheering herself on during a driving shift, just to keep going.
Go, Renee. Yay! Everyone has always told me I had a big heart. I said, no, I love children.
And for the grown woman who remembers what it was like to be a child and sometimes not have enough, she'll be driving up until Christmas Eve, if that's what it takes.
I don't do it for these children, then I let them down.
Great story. Giving is living.
A funny thing about love, sometimes it is better the second time around. Frank Sinatra wrote a song about it.
The second time you fall.
A song Eric Wilhite and fiancée Rochelle Miles could be singing all the way down the aisle.
I'm oh so glad we met.
He always makes me feel loved. He always makes me feel important. He just never lets me down.
She makes me who I am, and she helps me to grow.
It wasn't always that way, though, between these two when they first met and dated years ago in middle school in Kokomo.
We broke up 8th grade and didn't talk at all in high school.
Yeah, at all. Like, literally not a single word freshman year through senior year.
That all changed last summer at the Kokomo Aldi. Eric, now in college, was delivering groceries and was picking up his last order of the night.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to take the order.
He did, though, and ran into Rochelle right in the produce aisle.
He was trying to avoid me, but I walked up to him and I said hi and I asked him how he was doing.
And I just kind of had this feeling of like, I want to get to know her again.
So Eric messaged Rochelle on Instagram the next day and asked her out to dinner. At that dinner,
It was really like sparks flying, like it's like a real thing.
So yeah, we've pretty much known from that very first interaction that this is it.
You can't deny chemistry, can you?
No.
What?
Maybe.
So when Eric decided to propose this summer, there was only one place that would do.
I saw you at this spot. I was so in love with you.
Right at the Aldi, where he and Rochelle reconnected.
My heart beats for you. Will you marry me?
Right in the produce aisle, in front of the oranges, to be exact.
It's our spot.
It's our spot, and it was very special to me, and it was special to him. It was special to us, and it was like our own thing, you know. No one else is going to propose in that spot.
Are you okay?
Neither Eric or Rochelle was looking for love that day in an Aldi in Kokomo, but it's where they found it and put a ring on it.
I've had a lot of people ask me, you know, how do you find that? How do you find that person? And I really don't know what the answer is other than to go grocery shopping. I really don't.
Oh, what a fantastic story from Emily Longnicker in an Aldi.